Welcome back, y'all, and happy Wednesday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, we're going to be going over my 7 keys to victory for our Tennessee Volunteers and a game prediction. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, Timmy G and I will be planning on going live tonight for the midweek chat at some point. It might be a little bit earlier than it typically is because we don't have to wait on the status report to come out. I don't think that it comes out for this game because this is an SEC versus SEC, but we do want to get everyone's thoughts, so we will be fielding all the questions. Please try to get there early because at some point we're going to be cutting the chat off, and we want to make sure that we can get to everybody. Ohio State fans are welcome. You can come in there, talk some trash. We can go back and forth. Let's just try to keep everything above the belt. But let's go ahead and jump into my 7 keys to victory for our Tennessee Volunteers. So key number 1 for me is to stick to the run, something that Tennessee kind of got away from in the second half of that Georgia game. But for this game, we got to stick to it for 60 minutes. We got to keep on doing it over and over and over again because I do think that Tennessee is going to be the more physical team at the point of contact. And there was a video that came out of yesterday's practice for the Buckeyes where the offensive line was doing a blocking drill versus the linebackers. And I'm telling you, they're turning it down. Tennessee's totally different. We're kind of like those Rams, doing headbutts and stuff like that, where they kind of raise up, line it up, boom, very flush contact, face to face, head to head, shoulder to shoulder, whatever you want to call it. It's a very physical brand of football, and that's offense, defense, special teams. But just for the offense, I think that it's an underrated trait within our tempo that, man, we're coming straight at you, and yeah, you're going to probably be a little bit woozy off the first one, but with the tempo, it's coming right back at you. So you've got to make a business decision on, hey, what's my quality of life going to be like after this game? And do I want to keep on getting in the way and keep on getting run over? Or do I want to get out the way and let Tennessee score? And I just don't think that they're built for this with their ends or with their linebackers. I just don't think that they're willing to step up into a gap that way because I haven't seen them do that at all this season. They don't really take on blocks with that sort of physicality. It's more of a slow it down, turn to the side, give me a hug and a kiss. And I think that it's going to wear on them as this game kind of gets deeper into the, second half and things like that. But also, we know that they don't rotate very many bodies up front with their front four. So, yes, they will be getting gassed. We keep on running at them. That will wear them down, and that's where we want them at in the second half. But also, if we have success running the football, I would say 3 to 4 yards per carry, which is absolutely tremendous. If Tennessee averages anywhere near 4 yards per carry, we are going to win this football game. But that makes the safeties have to come down into the box, and now we're getting one-on-one coverage on the outside with our wide receivers versus some really bad cornerbacks, and we all love that matchup. But key number 2 for me is going to be to go at their corners early and often. Like we just talked about, their cornerbacks are not good. We can go there on third downs, whatever. Whenever we need to get a big play, we need to be targeting their cornerbacks because they can't cover any route with any player on this entire roster, and I can almost guarantee you that. And if they do kind of cover things up, it should be a holding call or a pass interference call. That's the way that it's been all season long. Number 3 for me is to watch the blitzes. We know that Ohio State blitzes about 37% of the time. They will have some different blitz packages and things like that, but we've talked about this before. It's pretty obvious when the different blitz packages are coming, when different players are going to be dropping into coverage from some weird places and all that type of stuff. So I know that we'll have things kind of schemed up for that, and we will definitely be ready for that. But obviously, it's going to be very important to protect Nico and give him the time to find the people down the field so that we can actually take advantage of their really bad cornerbacks on the outside. And key number 4 for me is going to be to hit Will Howard early. We've got to make him start looking more at the pass rush and things like that, as opposed to really looking down the field. I think that he's better than people are giving him credit for. I actually think that he's a pretty solid quarterback. I mean, he can make all the throws. Doesn't have a strong as arm as Nico does, but he does have a strong enough arm to operate their offense, and he does know where to go pre-snap. So I don't know if we're going to try to, blitz more, if that's the way that we want to try to get to Howard, but I would maybe start this game off blitzing and hitting him. P and I talked about this before. Even if you got to take a late hit, just to let him know, let him feel your presence. That's okay. Take that 15 yards because over the course of 60 minutes, that will end up helping us out whenever it counts the most. Number 5, also for the defense, is going to be about helping out our linebackers and our safety some in coverage, especially if they're going to get matched up versus one of those very good wide receivers for the Buckeyes. We got to have some things schemed up, I would say, just more from like a coverage perspective to keep somebody over the top. We cannot let our linebackers get isolated with these guys that can absolutely fly and go straight down the middle of our defense. We all know that that's going to be huge for this game. I trust the cornerbacks. They're going to be just fine. And really, the safeties will probably look good in coverage as well. I think that the star players, they're going to be ready. But the linebackers is probably more what I'm concerned about. We just cannot let them get isolated for some of these better wide receivers for the Buckeyes. Number 6 is going to be about scheming around Caleb Downs. He is an absolute dog. And whenever I say dog, it's not just that they're a good player, it's more that they are a tough player, like what we talked about earlier, where they're not turning it down. They're going to come straight at you flush over and over and over again. He's one of those players. And with Tennessee's running game, the place that I would say, maybe struggled at the most throughout this entire season is with the safeties coming down inside of the box and making tackles. If we can find some way to, either get Caleb Downs out of position or just to block him within our running game, we will break several long runs because I feel great about us blocking their front 7. Cornerbacks, to me, are a total non-factor. And yeah, they have some other safeties that also play well, but Caleb Downs is the main one that we need to make sure that we are blocking. We need to make sure that he can't intercept passes, that he's not going to be, playing in those windows where we want to throw the football to, all of that type of stuff. I think that he is good enough to, maybe kind of break this game open for their defense. And the last key for me is going to be to take care of the football. This is very obvious. But, man, look, Tennessee has had some problems fumbling the football. We cannot do that in this game. With it being colder, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to hold on to the ball. And it's not just about the fumbles, but also like we talked about with Caleb Downs, we can't be throwing interceptions and stuff. As long as we don't just give the football to him, I think if Tennessee does what we always do, we will win this football game. All right, y'all, now it's time for my game prediction, starting off with the Buckeyes offense versus Tennessee's defense. I would expect that they're going to try to throw the football more than they did versus Michigan because everyone keeps on talking about that. They're really not suited to be a physical team. So more finesse I would expect in this game. Wouldn't be surprised to see more tempo. Maybe Chip Kelly kind of gets back to how he started. Well, not really started, but especially with Oregon, where they ran, really, really fast tempo. We might see a little bit more of that. Probably not too much because it does feel like Ryan Day is more about getting into the correct plays and kind of checking with the sideline. So they'll probably run the tempo in spurts, but I don't think that they'll sustain it over the course of this entire game. But with their passing game, I would expect a lot of RPO stuff. We might see some read option stuff, maybe let Will Howard kind of use his legs early on in this game, but they really don't use his legs too much unless it's a really short down and distance or, unless it's like a goal line situation. But with the RPO game, very, very obvious, what the route combinations will be and things like that. Tennessee's probably going to try to force them to run out of the RPO more than throw it. That would definitely suit Tennessee a lot better. But our cornerbacks do a great job in coverage, and it's great, I think, as a Tennessee fan to know that Ohio State targets the cornerbacks a lot. Most of their passes will be going to the outside, and I really do like that matchup. I think that we're going to be the best cornerback tandem or, a duo, a trio, whatever, that the Buckeyes have faced all season. But they will also be the best group of wide receivers that Tennessee has faced. So that matchup, I think, is going to be very important. And we might not win every single battle, but I think that we'll win more than we lose. We'll have to find some ways to get pressure on Will Howard. I think without blitzing as much, just because he does really good versus the blitz. Dropping 8 should be something that Tennessee tries to incorporate in this game because we've seen that the Buckeyes offense is kind of stalled out just a little bit more versus that sort of a coverage, as opposed to trying to blitz. But I think Tennessee's going to run a lot of man-to-man coverage. I think we'll see quarters coverage and probably cover 2, keep those safeties over the top, keep some players underneath, on the outside, and try to force Will Howard to go more to the middle of the field. That's a place that they don't target as much. But I do think that Tennessee is going to find a lot of success. Yes, the Buckeyes will have to try to run the football some. We can never let them get started running because once they, get away from that and then turn to a pass-first team, you have to love Tennessee's chances. Just with the way that they operate, their offense is different from Georgia's. It's actually almost the total opposite, where Georgia wanted to target the middle. I think that that's the place where Tennessee's defense might be a little bit weaker at, just as far as pass coverage goes, with some linebackers and sometimes with our safeties. But all in all, I know that Coach Tim Banks is going to have a great game plan for the Buckeyes because we have coaches up there with Michigan that definitely want to help us out, and they'll tell us all the secrets and all the tendencies and things like that, on top of what we've seen ourselves. Now let's talk about Tennessee's offense versus the Buckeyes defense. Definitely expect us to run the football 40 or more times in this game. I expect us to have a good amount of success, like we talked about with Oregon, spreading them out. We're seeing a lot of 5- and 6-man boxes. And again, it's very predictable with their defense, what they're going to do. So we will definitely have some new wrinkles to scheme people up in some favorable matchups for our Vols on the outside. I would expect more 12 personnel. And again, just kind of like flexing guys out. Use the leverage of these big tight ends lined up in the slot to block the guys like Caleb Downs that we talked about, who will be probably playing more in the box, based off of the formations that were given to them. I think that we can hit the edge for a lot of success in this game, but also feel like we can run the football right at them. But outside of that, y'all, whenever we get one-on-one coverage on the outside, that should be pretty much an automatic, hey, we're going at these cornerbacks. They can't stop us. They can't hold us. We'll see what happens, well, with the referees, because they've been really bad pretty much since they've started. Like, that crew is absolutely terrible. But either way, I would expect to see several holding calls, pass interference calls on the Buckeyes cornerbacks. And I think that we can definitely find a lot of success throwing the football down the field. I feel like Nico's just going to ball out. He loves these types of moments, and he's been playing better and better with each game after that Alabama game. This seems like he's really very comfortable within this offense. He's going through his reads really quickly. He knows when to tuck it and run. He's got good speed, and I think that he's going to take care of the football. I would not be surprised if he can throw for over 300 yards in this game, and also wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee runs for over, I would say, 160 yards in this game. If all those things happen, I think that not only will Tennessee win, but Tennessee could win by a pretty sizable margin. I would say by 2 scores, whether that's 10, whether that's 14. I think that that's about where this is headed at, and I could even see a world where it's even worse than that, just because if we get off to a good start, the fans start to turn on their players, on their team, Tennessee could absolutely run away with this game. And that's not to say that the Buckeyes aren't talented. They are, but man, styles make fights, and this is going to be a fight. I don't think that Ohio State is ready for this in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm sure that their fans are starting to realize, just with our fans, just how passionate and rabid this fan base actually is. And I don't feel like they're used to that, but we deal with this every single week inside of the SEC. This is just what we're used to. We're going to travel well. I'm expecting probably 30 to 40,000 Vol fans to be in Columbus on kickoff. I don't know if they're going to make it into the stadium. We'll see how many actually makes it into the stadium, but it does feel like we are headed towards a real fight and a real takeover, and I am expecting for our Volunteers to advance. I'll get my final score prediction coming up on the pregame show on Saturday. We hope that y'all can join us for that. We also hope that you will be joining us tonight for the midweek chat. We'll let you know here very shortly what time we're going to be doing that. But as always, please do share your thoughts down in the comment section. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.